Today's shave. This is the we're just past the midpoint for August, Austere August, where I'm using the same gear every day, even the blade. The blade's still holding up really well. It may very well go the whole month. We'll see. Little two dots in the little corner there. I've used this blade 17 times. I used it twice before the month started, so that's why it's a little off of the date. But so today's the 18th shave with a Gillette Nacet. I've found that it's a really good blade for me in other razors, and it happens to be a great blade for the dart as well. This is the machined version of the dart. It was the first one to come out. Polished one, I think in September of 18 is going to come out. I am very happy with this razor. It's mid-aggressive, maybe 7 out of 10. The Blackbird is higher. I don't shave with the Blackbird very often because it's just that aggressive. I have to be really careful with it. Maybe someday I'll use it more frequently to try to get a really good handle on it. But I have to be so careful that I don't often use it. It's a gorgeous piece. But this guy can be my daily shaver only because I discovered the right angle to use. If you've been watching my videos all month, you know what I'm about to say. About a 30-35 degree angle is great for the first pass, but for me, anything after that, it's way too rough. The blade exposure is too much for my skin. So what I do, I bring the handle in a little bit. It acts like a seesaw and raises the pressure of the blade just a little bit, enough to where it's a wonderful, maybe a 5 out of 10 type shaver with some blade, a good bit of blade feel, but it's consistent, non-irritative. I usually finish my shaves with no irritation. All right, and that's with a 17-use blade. How about that? The boar I'm using this month is from Whipped Dog. And it's aging nicely, slowly but nicely. And the soap I'm using all month is, of course, if you've seen my previous stuff, Williams. I shredded it, and you can put it in various containers once you do that. This time, because I'm doing face lathering, I put it in a mug, and I put 2 teaspoons of water on top of it. Last time I put 1. And when I came back to it 20-25 minutes later, it was all absorbed into the soap. And well, it's been about that much time now because my camera had a problem. I had to troubleshoot it for a little bit. I was going to do like a 12-minute soak, but then because of technical difficulties, it's kind of the same as yesterday. So some of that water has been absorbed, but some of it's going to going to get in on the brush. And so that's good. Then maybe I won't have to add water to my brush during the lather building process. This is my post-shave product. The Fresh is kind of a woman's fragrance to me, to my nose. It's doing better to my nose lately, but it does seem to be a worthwhile product. It has parabens in the ingredients list. I've heard bad things concerning that word, so a word to the wise there. Maybe do some research. Maybe one of those things that companies have been using for a while, but the newer companies are not using it anymore. I don't know how dangerous it is or what risk it might pose. I don't even know any other ingredients in there that might be bad as well. But guys have been using it for years. All right, get my face wet. As usual for this location, I'm using cool water. It is hard water. Oh man, I should have been having my brush soaking. I personally like to soak my boars a lot. Most people I think do. There are some people who, I'm just for you newbies, I don't want to give you the message that you have to soak them. It is optional. Some people just run water through them and let them sit for a few minutes before you shave. But I like to soak them in my little jar. And so we will give that 3 minutes to soak. I'm really right ready to go. So I'm going to pause you so you don't have to wait. Okay, while that's soaking, I'm going to tell you what my face lathering strategy has been before today. I've had 2 face lathers before today during this month. One was super watery and the lather bits were flying off, getting me all messy. The next one was to the other extreme, and that's part of my plan, is to you go the extremes, then you can start to know where the middle ground might be. The next shave was just 1 teaspoon on top of the soap. It was all pretty much absorbed into the soap by the time I went to load up. I have been loading for 60 seconds, and that seems to be, so far with both options I've done, it seems to be the right amount of soap for me, for the number of lathers that I use, and a little bit of extra margin at the end just in case. And then just face lathering. In the first instance, when I had a good bit of water in the mug and things were flying everywhere and it was super moist, it was really slick. And I did not have to go back and add more water to the brush. But I did have to re-soap a little bit for the third pass, and I ended up having to add a little water there. Yesterday's shave, I had, that's where I put less water in. I did have to add water to the brush as I was building the lather on my face. I don't really like to do that. It's tedious. You end up with all this extra lather on your face. You have to I like to try to get it off so that it's there for me in other passes. Otherwise, it's just wasted. I did a lot of water adding to the brush. And so hopefully, as I find the middle ground between the two, I can find a nice amount to put in the cup so that I don't have to really add too much water to the brush. I was able to find that with the Vanderhagen soap that I started out with a couple of years ago. I didn't even know about all the online stuff, and I was able to just kind of process of elimination, estimate how much water to put in there, and it ended up work well. I'm certain that I'll be able to do that again. And boom, there's a 3-minute soak. We're good. All right. And now I'm going to take the brush, shake all the water out that I can, sling it out, and here we go. A 60-second, oh, it just turned 30. So let's start loading. Smaller cup. And so there's a lot of dinking going on. It is starting to come up the brush. And that's got to be the airy lather that you probably don't want to shave with. I think that's the lather that people tend to use, and then they judge Williams by that lather, and I don't think that lather was meant to give you a good shave. 10 more seconds in my 60-second load, and I actually started at 31, so I'll go all the way to 31. Boom. All right, so that's kind of what's left inside. I've got a lot of the thin stuff on the outside of my brush, but hopefully kind of in the fibers there, and I'm confident there is, we've got some good lather there. All right, let's get my face wet again. I don't know whether it's going to be too wet or not. Let me just kind of get rid of the excess droplets on my face. I can always add more later. All right. Here we go with getting ready for pass number 1. Sometimes it can start out a little airy, but then get better as it goes. Because after all, we haven't truly mixed the water and soap yet. Kind of what we're doing here. This looks like the kind of lather where I will, there's my first jumper. This looks like the kind of lather where I'll probably try to save some, put it back on the brush for the next pass. That's my biggest pet peeve about face lathering, is the first pass gets all this awesome treatment and lather, but then the second pass just gets whatever's left over on your brush. Now, since I'm not a great face latherer, I'm not going to put down face lathering for that reason. I'm just saying that's what I don't like about it so far. I'm sure maybe when I learn and get better at it, I'll figure it out. Because I think face lathering might just be a little bit more popular than bowl lathering. I mean, it is so convenient. Don't have to have a bowl with you. There we go. So I pulled off some of the excess there on the brush. I don't know if that's what a lot of guys use, but that's what I'm doing. I saw an online post that talked about turning this machined version into the polished version. You can get some finishing compound to go on like a Dremel with the little cloth buffing wheel, and just go at it, and it makes it look really amazing. That'll save you some money, because I think the polished version is about 30 bucks. So if you get this one and polish it yourself, if you already have the Dremel, then that might save yourself some money. All right. Looks a little thin, but that's all part of the experiment. I think it'll shave well. Both the one I did yesterday and before gave me really, really good slickness. Yeah, I'm not experiencing any drag here. I'm experiencing a little bit of pulling, but it's only right when I'm lifting the razor off my face. And that's pretty normal. Sometimes that happens when you're kind of doing the buffing motion where you do shorter strokes. Yeah, see, look at this. It's kind of dissipating right here. I'm sure this is the kind of lather that people try from Williams and just do not like at all, and I can see why. I wouldn't want to risk it either. No, it's kind of slick. It's not super slick. So who knows? I may get some irritation from that. Okay, so that's not ideal, but it's workable. Okay, I'm gonna do a little bit of rinse. Be right back. Interesting question that arises right now. I have got tons of slickness on my face because of the Williams, and that has been true for the past 2 shaves as well, with this soaking in the mug and that kind of thing. But that begs the question, is slickness the only thing that helps to protect your skin against the blade? Or is the cushion and creaminess, does that come into play as well? I'm going to have to ask the online community and see what they believe. Is there a component of a cushion or creaminess that is required for a really protective shave? Or maybe it's something like 70% slickness, in which Williams excels at, and then 30% creaminess, in which sometimes it's harder to get that kind of lather out of Williams. I've done it before. I've got a good system for it. It's just not a quick system. All right, so we'll see. We'll see, because right now Williams is pure slickness and barely any cushion and creamy. Now we've kind of used up all of that initial airy soap. Let's just see what kind of lather, another flyer. See what kind of lather we get now. It's looking promising, right? Brush is being great, very comfortable. Definitely wouldn't have a problem using this brush for the rest of my life. Soft. Oh, now look, see, we are getting some of this kind of bumpy furrowing here that's indicative of a lather that needs more water. Now that's very interesting, because up here you would almost think that it's got too much water. Very interesting. Let's just shave with it. See what happens. This is starting to get the creamy texture. Maybe it just takes a little bit of working it on your face before the creamy comes out. But I mean, who wants, you saw how long I worked it on my face for the first pass. And look, that's some pretty dense lather there in this section right here. Some of it's airy, but like right here, you see those bubbles at the root right here? That's too light. But this stuff right here is what I've been mixing up and putting on my face right now. Who wants to, you saw how much time I spent on that, lathering up that first pass. I mean, I don't think people would want to spend more than that. I'm trying to find a reasonable, happy medium way to achieve a great lather. Williams is consistently giving me good lathers. All of them have been workable and good. It's just that I'm looking for great. Cross grain on my cheeks looks like this. And I bring, if I feel like it's a little too aggressive, I bring the handle in toward my face just a little bit. Very comfortable. It's just it's a very masculine feeling. There are, on the converse of the issue is the fact that some people like to not really, to have a shave so smooth, they don't really even feel the blade. But with this razor, it's consistent, it's firm, there's definitely blade feel, but it's almost like I want it. I want to have that feel because I'm a man shaving. I'm cutting hairs on my face on a regular basis. This is what men do. This is not what boys do. This is what men have done for centuries, and I'm taking a part in that. And so in a sense, I don't really mind that it feels like a blade is moving across my skin. And this is kind of the perfect example of that, where it's moving across my skin, it's cutting well, but it's not irritating. It feels predictable, safe. Safe in the sense that I have done it enough to where I feel good about it, but it's still a blade moving across my skin, feeling like a blade, and so in that sense it has a little bit of element of danger there, because after all, I have cut myself with this one if I have let my technique falter. We'll rinse. So it's actually this great happy medium between, you could really cut yourself, but I'm a man with skill. And so it's fine. I feel good about that. All right. Now, let's see, I have not gone back to the mug at all. This is what I started with. Looks like it'll be enough. Start kind of laying it down. I may have to add water to this. We'll see. Can start a scrub just to kind of try to agitate and make sure that I bring out all the suds that I can. Who knows, I might have just stumbled into just the right mix 2 teaspoons on top of the soap for 20 minutes. Yeah, see, look at the throat there. I'm going to paint back and forth for a little bit. And then now you see those furrows? They're consistent. They're not very blotchy at all. In a couple of places I've made strokes. See right there? That's a little bit of blotchy right there. So this is maybe on the verge of needing some water. At least in many other soaps, that is what this indicator means. Maybe Williams is different. Let's just shave with this and see what happens. I'm glad to see that lather is not flying off my face every time I flick a brush. Very comfortable in the painting process. Very comfortable at that. All right. Light, very light touch. Listening as well to tell, along with the feel, what kind of cut I'm getting. If I don't get any hairs, I can lift the handle just a little bit. To be honest, what this razor is like for me, it's like if you want to use the old school Gillette adjustable syntax, it's like shaving with maybe a 6 out of 9, maybe a 5 out of, probably a 6 out of 9. And then by closing in the handle angle, you switch it back to maybe a 4 out of 9. Maybe 4.5. And so those two settings, and probably an infinity between, since all it is changing your angle a little bit. It's like an instantly adjustable dynamic razor because of the angle that you can change. And so if you need it to be in that medium range, the second setting I talked about, you bring the handle in a little bit, good to go. If you need it to be, especially like you're on that first pass and you need it to cut, then you do the 35 or 30 degree angle. And as you're shaving the second pass and third pass, you might hear that you've got a patch of hair somewhere or feel. And then you can maybe open up the handle a little bit more to know that you're going to knock down that little area. And you can do it all in an instant. I would guess that if you use this for a while, it would become second nature. Some razors, especially mild ones, you need to stick to a certain angle because that's where they're going to give you the best cut. And mild ones will often have a very small angle, like maybe between here and here, where it's going to cut the best for you and give you a baby butt smooth shave. And then the good news is anywhere out of that, you're not going to cut very many, you're not going to get an efficient cut, but at least you're not going to cut yourself. But with this guy, you've got a wider tolerance. And if you sit in one area of that range, you're more aggressive. Down a little bit less, then you're less aggressive. I'm going to rinse. The scent at this point, by the way, 15 uses in, 16 uses in is almost non-existent, which is kind of cool because the citronella is in the first 3 shaves, a little on the strong side. But it turns into just a pleasant light, to me at least, a pleasant light, soapy, classic, fresh type scent. And I like it. And so there we go. That was the third pass. Let's take a look at the results. I see some length on some hairs right here. So let us do a little touch-up pass. It looks like we just have enough soap to do the job. A little bit extra, a little bit of margin. Now, just be extra careful. I'm not stretching the skin very much. I'm just holding it to keep it from moving. Paying extra attention to the sound. And my handle angle. If I feel like I'm getting too much of that cutting sound, I back down. And now I'm going to come back and attack it from this angle. And there we go. Let's just see if that help me out. Rinse. That significantly improved the results. It is now, like yesterday and the day before, an above average shave for me, which is very good. Just maybe a few hairs where I see a little bit of length of. Everything else is flush nicely. Very happy with that. You might even be good with this shave if you were in a high-end job and somebody was right up in your face a lot. It's possible that they may not notice those few, depending on your beard type. If you got big, thick hairs, you know, they might notice them. I don't. But comfort, excellent. Not feeling any irritation at all. Let's go ahead and hit it with some parabens. That's about all I seem to need. If my face has got a little bit of moisture on it, it helps to be able to smooth it around. I put it on according to the grain of the hair. It's got a little bit of denatured alcohol in it. I like it because I've got oily skin, and it helps me to feel where my shave could have gone wrong. So it's a diagnostic tool, kind of like the alum block. Little bit of stinging right around here. That's really about it. And now the stinging's gone. So there we go. All right, I'm going to clean up. I want to show you something. I did not wipe out the mug and try to get the extra lather that was kind of around it when I was done with my loading, and here's why. See those big old air bubbles? That's not the kind of lather that you want on your brush. It's hard to break it down, get rid of those bubbles, at least in my opinion. And so I just want that lather that's down close to the soap. So if you leave that stuff in your cup, that's a good thing. With about 21 shaves in it, he is starting to splay, as you can see, gradually opening up. But I did a little quick inspection before the shave here, and not a whole lot of the bristles are splitting yet, which is kind of cool because it feels good right now. But it may take a while. But those bristles, those edges, tips will split. And when it does, the more that do, means that the comfort and the softness of this brush is going to just really increase significantly. So it'll be fun to watch happen. So that was an interesting shave. In terms of the water content, a day ago it was too dry, had to add water. 2 days ago it was too wet, I had the lather flying everywhere. With this one, I still had enough water in the brush where I didn't have to add any, even on the touch-up pass. So one might be able to say that the 2 teaspoons is perfect. How do I know it's 2 teaspoons? I use a little medicine dropper used in children's medicine to give liquid measure. So that might just be perfect. You know, I mean, the only sucky thing was that first bit of lather. so airy and dry, and that's kind of when you need maybe more. No, I guess you need more protection on the second and third passes when there's less hair on your face. That's when you can really irritate your skin. So this lather seems to get better, creamier with each pass. You know what I might try next time is use a pre-shave. Take a glycerin soap I have or something and wash my face ahead of time and see if that has anything to do with the first lather. Maybe it would cream up a little better than it is. So that's interesting. I'll have to think about what I want to try next, how I want to alter this next. Oh, you know, I know, I will bloom it less and just see what happens, because we've experienced 20-minute blooms. I'm not saying you have to do it 20 minutes, 25 minutes. It just happens to be what it works out for me, because I stop in, I put some water in my cup, I go back away, and I do other stuff. Usually I get involved with something, and then that's it. I mean to be back in 10 minutes, but then I'm back in 20. You know, that's just the way it goes. But it's convenient. It's not taking up any time out of my schedule. So maybe we'll try a shorter load, a shorter bloom period. Like maybe next time I'll put that same amount of water on there, just at the beginning of my shave routine. Give it a shot, see what happens. All right. Anyway, I hope there was something here for you. It was good. I think it's one of my better face lathers. So it's a very solid one. Passes 2 and 3 were excellent. You know how 1 was, a little bit on the airy side, thin. So face feel is great. Hydration. I don't feel any irritation at all. So I'm a happy camper. Nice close shave. Up here on the cheeks, 92% baby butt smooth without going against the grain. So there we go. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. Take care. Have a good night.